Hello everyone, myself E. Penita Saumya, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, School of Computing, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Today I'm going to take a lecture in software engineering course on topic software process model. First we will see what is process. A series of steps taken to produce an intended output is called as process. Steps involved in processes are activities, constraints, and resources we're going to use. And process involves some tools and techniques also. What are the characteristics of process? It prescribes all major process activities, user resources, what are the set of constraints we're going to use, schedule, and number of people working. It also produces intermediate and final products. It composed of sub-processes with hierarchy or links. Each process activity has entry and exit criteria. Activities are organized in a sequence manner, so timing will be very clear here. Each process has guiding principles. It includes a goal for each and every activity. Constraints may also apply to each and every activity, resources, and products also. Why are processes so important? It improves the consistency and structure on a set of activities. It guides us to understand, control, and examine and improve the activities we're doing. It enables us to capture our experiences and passes on the experience to other persons also. What is mean by modeling a process? A process model is an anticipation of what the process will look like at the end of the deployment. Okay, so what are the processes involved in that system development are very well determined here. So that is called as modeling a process. The description of all process is given at a given level. The reasons for modeling a processes are it will form a common understanding. It will find inconsistencies, redundancies, and omissions, and it will find and evaluate appropriate activities for reaching the particular process goals. And it will tailor a general process for particular situation, what will be used and what we have to take some steps during that particular situation happens. Software process model. The software process model involves some software life cycle process that is called as a software process model. These are the steps involved in that life cycle: requirement analysis and division, system architecture design, program, that is a detail or procedural design, writing program like coding, implementation, and testing like unit testing, integration testing, system, and many more testings are also available in that testing phase. System delivery, that is the product which will created will be deployed in that system delivery phase. And last step is a maintenance phase. So some common software process models are waterfall model, prototyping model, V model, incremental model, iterative model, spiral model, a rapid application development model, and agile development model. First, we will see what is waterfall model. It is a first process model proposed. So these are the life cycle in a software development. The first one is requirement analysis phase, system design, then program design, then coding phase, unit and integration testing phase, system testing phase, acceptance testing phase, and operation and maintenance phase. So when should I choose a water model? So it works well for minimal or no changes required in the problem. Advantages of waterfall models are it is a very simple and easy to explain to the customers, that is clients who are approaching us. And it presents a very high level view of the development process, like each and every process from requirement to the maintenance phase, it will be very well maintained. and sequence of process activities. Each major phase is marked by milestone and deliverables. So each and every phase, requirement phase and designing, coding, and each and every phase has some milestone. That milestone will be marked and a deliverable to the clients. Drawbacks of waterfall models are there will be no iterations in the waterfall model, like no repeating steps, okay, involved in the waterfall model. Most software development applies a great many iterations. So this will be a very major drawback in the waterfall model. There will be no repeating of phases here. So next, there is no iteration in waterfall model. Most software developments apply a great many iterations, right? Already we discussed that. And it provides no guidance to handle the changes. So if some changes is happened, right, that changes will has no guidance. So how it can be handled and what changes it will require at some activities and products, that will be no proper guidance will be available. That is, once a requirement is analyzed, that will be a frozen one. And it views a software development as a manufacturing process rather than as a creative process. So process model should be it will be a creating one, not a manufacturing. Okay, so waterfall model view that as a manufacturing, not as a creative. There is no iterative activities, so that will lead to creating a final product. Long wait before a final product. So once a requirement phase is over, it will move to the next. So it is a long wait process until the maintenance phases arrive. So waterfall model is hardly ever used as a solo process model. Most of the time it is used alongside with the prototype process model. So next we're going to see about prototype process model. So what is a prototype process model? It is a partially developed product. So it has some sample developed product to execute that partially developed product to the client. So prototyping helps developers access alternative design strategies. Users understand what the system will be like it is mostly like a user interface prototype. So the developer and the client, in between the sample, we're going to develop and we're going to deliver that sample pieces to the clients, and if any changes required, they will tell us what changes we need to impose on that sample model. So we will start working on the original software development. So next, the prototyping is useful for verification and validation. So this is a typical representation of a prototype model. So first we start with the requirement gathering. We gather the requirement from the client, and we will start with the quick design, and we will build some prototype sample model, and that will be given to the customer for the evaluation. If any changes required, the customer will give some inputs. That will be that process is called a refining prototype phase. After some requirements are given or some changes are given by the customers, that will goes to the quick design phase. And after a designing phase, again we will it will give some sample prototype that will again give to the customer for evaluation process. Once it is done, it will goes to the engineered product. That is, we will develop that sample product into the detailed one. So this stops here. So water model with prototype. We already seen that waterfall model will be combined with the prototype model. So we will see what it will involve. These are the waterfall model steps, right? We already seen about this. So after the requirement design, program design, coding, testing, and system testing, it will again goes to the requirement analysis. In this phase, the customer will give some valid inputs. What are the changes required? After that customer evaluation, it again goes to the first step: analysis, design, program, and coding. These steps keep on involves until the prototype is sample prototype is accepted by the client. And last, it will goes to the acceptance testing, and after it get accepted by the customer, it will goes to the operation and the maintenance phase. So what are the advantages of prototype process models are? Iteration of users and stakeholders at their respective phases. Yes, there will be an interaction between the user and the stakeholders. So working model will be a very better understanding, and error can be detected much earlier, quicker user feedback for a better solutions. Missing, ambiguous, and a complex functionality can be identified very easily here. Requirements, validations, quick implementations, and incomplete but functional application. So these are the disadvantages of a prototype process model. It will lead to implement and repairing of a building system. It practically increase the complexity of the system, like each and every step we are going again and again. So it will increases the complexity of the system. And incomplete application may cause application not to be used as the old system was designed. Like if some processes, if some applications are incomplete, it cannot be used as the whole system, right? So it is a sample one, we cannot use as the whole full system. So the incomplete, inadequate problem analysis is a very will be a very major drawback here. So when to use the prototype model? So if a desired system is designed, there will be user interaction. In that model, we can use as a prototype. For example, online system, web interfaces. These application uses a user under the stakeholders interactions, right? So end users are constantly work with the system feedback and incorporated in the prototype reusable system. And it is excellent for designing a good human-computer interface system, because it is an interactable one. So the design will be a good for a good human-computer interface system. So next model we're going to see about this P model. So it will be a light variation from the waterfall model. It uses a unit testing to verify the procedural design. We used to design some procedures, right? That will be a that will be validated by the unit testing. And uses integration testing to verify the architectural design. So there will be a two testing. One is a unit testing and another is integration testing. Unit testing is for procedural design. Integration is for architectural design. And it uses acceptance testing to validate the requirements. Yes, it will be acceptance testing is mainly by the client. So the client will validate the requirements. If problems are found during the verification and validation phase, the left side of the V model that can be re-executed before testing on the right side in the re-enactor. We will detail see in the next slide. So this is the representation of the V process model. It looks like a V shape, no? So, so basically it is called as V process model. So first, this is a developer life cycle, and this right side is a tester life cycle. So left one is developer, right side is tester. So developer, what he will do means, this phase is business requirement specification. It is a formal document. It is given by the client. So what are the requirements needed is documented formally in a BRS. So next one is system requirement specification. In this system requirement specification, the functional and non-functional requirements are documented here, and it will go to the eye-level design. This BRS and SRS will go to the phase eye-level design, and it will goes to the low level design. And next we need to code that design. Coding involves, after the coding process, it will go for the testing. So unit testing is for procedural, right? Then it will go to the component testing and system integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. These are the process involved in this. So if any changes is required in the coding, it will goes to the unit testing. Okay, that is a procedural testing. If any changes is required in the design, low level design, it will goes to the component testing. If any changes required in the high level testing, it will directly goes to the integration testing. If any testing like requirements or changes in system and business, it will goes to the system testing, and business requirement changes will be goes to the acceptance testing. It all enters, and acceptance will be validated by the client. So let's see what are the processes involved in the requirement. Already we've seen that BRS, SRS begins the life cycle, right? Then it will, before development is started, first we need to develop a test plan. Test plan have to be created first. So the test plan focuses on meeting the functionality specified in the requirement gathering, right? In SRS, the functionality will be gathered here. So that will be the test plan should be focused on that functionality specified. Next, high-level design. This high-level design focuses mainly on system architecture and design. Okay, so it provides an overview of what is the platform we're going to, what is a system at last we're going to develop, what is a product, what is the services and solutions. It give overview of that. And integration test plan is created in this phase in order to test the pieces of software system ability to work together. In requirement, system test plan is created. In high-level design, integration test plan is created. Okay, so overall, the software system have to be integrated into the one pieces to work together, right? So for that, integration test plan have to be created. The low-level design, it mainly concentrate on actual software components we're going to design. Okay, it defines the actual logic on each and every component of the system used. Class diagram, it uses a class diagram step by step. So what is the relation between that classes are all comes under the low-level design, and it create the component test. Okay, in this phase, it will create the component test. So next phase is implementation phase. It again where all the coding takes place. Like so, once the requirement low level and high level designs are over, it will goes to the implementation, that is for coding. Once the coding is complete, the path of execution continues to the right side. That is to the right side. Once the coding is over, it will continue to the right side of the phases. So right side, once the coding is developed, that is the bottom of the V-shaped module design is converted to the code by developer. So this is the bottom of the code. That is a V model is a code. It is developed by the developers. Okay. So next is advantages of V model. It is very simple and easy to use. Testing activities like planning, test designing happens very well before coding. Yes, we already seen this system test plan, integration test plan, component test plan. This all happens before the coding. So it will be one of the major advantages. And proactive defect tracking. If any defects are found, it will be found earlier itself. It avoids the downward flow of defects. Here, it won't goes to the downwards. If any testing, any changes is required, the subsequent phases only, it will go to the subsequent phases only, not to the downward one. So next, it works well for a small project where requirements are easily understood. It cannot be used for a large projects. Only it will be used for the small projects. So what are the disadvantages of V models are? It is a very least flexible, and once the software is developed during the implementation phase, no ELA prototypes are produced. Like in prototype model, the sample prototype will be produced, right? But in this V model, no sample prototype will be produced. If any changes happen in midway, then the test documents along with the requirement documents have to be updated. If any testing is needed here, we need to go to the system requirement specification module. We need to incorporate those changes required, then we need to proceed. So this is a very tedious process. So high confidence of the customers is required for choosing the V-shaped model, as this is not a downward flow, and it is not suitable for larger projects. So customers have to have a high confidence to go for this V model. Since no prototypes are produced, there is a very high risk involved in meeting a customer expectations, right? There will be a no prototype. So risk will be a very high in this V model. When should I use a V model? It should be mainly apt for a small or medium sized projects only, and the requirement should be clearly well defined and fixed. Okay, in that cases scenarios, we can use a V model. The V-shaped model should be chosen some technical resources available with the needed technical expertise. So it needs some technical resources and technical expertise. And next model we're going to see is the incremental model. What is the incremental model? In that name itself, we can see that increment, that is a step-by-step process. It will incorporate some changes and develop the models. So old requirements is needed to build the various builds. And multiple development cycles. It more or less looks like a waterfall model with a multiple cycles. Okay, the cycles will be a smaller, and it will be more easily managed to modules. And each and every module has a requirement, design, implementation, and testing phase. And the first modules are the software, that is like a working software. Okay, so before completing the full SDLC cycle, it will create some module. That module looks like a working software. Okay, next to the subsequent release. So once one model is developed, that module will be released subsequently, and that adds a function to the previous release. If any requirement, any changes are that will be added to the previous release. Next, the process continues till the complete system is achieved. Once a complete system is achieved, the process will keep on continuous. That is increment. It will keep on continue till the system is requirement is achieved. These are the representation of incremental process model. Suppose we need to design this image. Okay, so step by step, it will create a design. First, we need to get the requirement from the customer. Then subsequently, we need to build the n number of modules. Okay, first modules involves design, involve development, testing, and implementation. Each and every module has design, development, testing, and implementation, and each module should be developed subsequently. Okay, so this can be built subsequently, and this also built subsequently. We can design, code, test, and implement what are the changes required. Also, we can do simultaneously. So these are the advantages of incremental model. So incremental model generally generates a working software working, right? It generates a working software. It's quickly and yearly during the software life cycle. It is more flexible and easier to test and debug because we are creating the smaller modules, right? So smaller modules will be easier to test and debug easier. customer can respond to each build. So we are developing a small model, small module. So customer can easily interact with that module. If any changes is required, it can be easily imposed. So a lower initial delivery cost. Delivery cost will be a very lower and easier to manage a risk, because we are step-by-step modules. Risk will be easily analyzed and handled during each iterations. So what are the disadvantages of incremental model are? It needs a good planning. Without a good planning and design, it will be very difficult for incremental model. It's need a clear and complete definitions of whole system. So proper planning will be there, proper design should be there, and proper definitions of the whole system, what we're going to develop, that needs a clear and complete definition. So, but compared to waterfall model, the cost is very higher here. When should I use incremental model? The requirement should be defined and clearly understandable. Then only it will be used. And major requirements must be defined clearly. There is a need to get a product to the market yearly. If we need to deploy some product very yearly, means we can opt for this incremental model. If any new technology is being used, we can opt for this incremental model. Resources with the needed skill are not available. If any resources, technical skilled resources are not available, we can go for an incremental model, because we can develop only small modules, right? So it doesn't need any technically resourced person. So there are some high risk features and goal. If any higher risk is there, we can go for this incremental model. So next model we're going to see about is iterative model. Iterative model, it won't start with the full specification of requirement. No full specification of requirement is needed here. Development begins by specifying and implementing just part of this software. Only the part of the software can be specified and implemented. So in that time also the development begins. Okay. Next, the process is then repeated. Iterative in sense, it is the repeated. So the process is repeated, producing a new version of the software for each cycle of the model. So for each phase of the model, the newer version of the software will be created, because if any changes is required, the process is repeated again and again to produce the newer version. For example, for designing this image, first we need to go for some images like this. Okay, for design we need to code, implement, and it again go for the analysis phase. If any changes is required, what we need to impose on that. If any newer changes is imposed by clients, means we need to incorporate that in the design. Then again we need to implement it, and we need to then again analyze that whether it is right or not, whether it satisfies the full system or not. So this process is repeating again and again to give the whole complete system. Okay, so this is a iterative process model. So what are the advantages of iterative model? Means it builds and improves the product step by step, right? So it tracks the defect at the earlier stage. It creates a high level design. Okay, so before beginning the actual product, it will define the design. What is the design we going to? So actual, without producing the actual, it mainly goes for the design model. Okay, so these are the main advantages. So user will give the feedback for improving the system. So that user feedback will be very effective to imagine the product, how it will work. An iterative model have a less time to spend on documenting. It mainly focused on designing only, not focused on requirement documenting. So what are the disadvantages of iterative models are? Each phase's integration is rigid with no overlaps. It don't overlap with each other. We already said, and this subsequently simultaneously it will execute, but not overlap will be here. Costly system architecture or design issues may arise because not all requirements are gathered up front for the entire life cycle, because we mainly focusing on design, not on the requirement. So cost will be a little bit higher. When should I use iterative model? If the requirement of the complete system is not clearly defined and understood, when the project is big, we can go for the iterative model. So it will be easier to fix the bugs, and it will be easier for a risk management. So major requirements must be defined. However, some details can evolve with time. So major requirements are it's really defined. It must be defined. Next is spiral model. Spiral model in sense spiral. It's like a circular motions, right? So it is similar to incremental model. It focuses mainly on risk analysis only. Like this is a spiral model. It goes like in a circular motion. It focuses mainly on a risk, and it has a 4 phases like planning, risk analysis, engineering, and evaluation. So planning in sense we need to plan, and then engineering in sense what goal we need to achieve in the end of the product. So we need to determine that goal. So what are the alternative for that goal? What are the constraints we need to apply on that activities like that? Next is risk analysis. We need to evaluate a risk and what are the alternatives available for that risk. And evaluation, we need to develop and test that process model. So next, the prototype is produced at the end of the risk analysis phase, right? So the prototype, after evolving all the risk analysis phase, we need to produce the prototype. So this is the representation. Once, so first it starts with the requirements gathering, then it will directly goes to the risk analysis phase. Then we need to produce some prototype, a sample model. Then we need to code that. Then it goes to the testing. Then it will goes to the customer evaluation for the feedback. If any feedback is there, it again goes to the spiral model. This is called as a spiral. It again and again it is like an iterative process, incremental like process only. So, but it majorly focus on a risk management. So what are the advantages of a spiral models are? It's a high amount of risk analysis is involved. So avoidance of risk is enhanced here. Good for large and mission critical projects. It needs strong approvals and documentation control. Additional functionalities can be added at a later date. Software is produced yearly in the software life cycle. Next, the disadvantages of a spiral model are it can be a costly model because it concentrates mainly on a major larger projects. Risk analysis requires a high expertise. In each and every phase, risk is analyzed. So technical expertise is highly required here. Project success is highly dependent on the risk analysis phase. Once a project is success or not, it fully depends on the risk analysis phase. And it doesn't work well for the smaller project. Yes, absolutely. It works only for a larger projects only. When should I use a spiral model? When cost and risk evaluation is important for medium to high risk projects, long-term project commitments, or a user is unsure of what he needs exactly, if requirements are complex, new product line is required, and if significant changes are expected, this spiral model we can use. So next model we're going to see is a rapid application development model. It is like an incremental model. The components or functions are developed in parallel. So we already seen in incremental model, the functions are developed in a parallel. Simultaneously, it will work. So it is more or less looks like an incremental model only. Developments are time boxed, delivered, and then assembled into a working prototype. It quickly gives some customer to see the model and to give the feedback regarding the delivery, and if any requirement is needed, it will be given by the customer feedback. Phases in RDP models are business modeling, data modeling, process modeling, application generation, testing, and turnover. In business modeling, information will flow between the various business functions. Okay. In data modeling, information flows to the data objects. Process modeling, the data objects to achieve some specific business objectives. And application generation, automated using tools, we can generate the application to plus actual system coding to give the actual system. Testing and turnover, test new components and all the interfaces. So in a rapid application development, each and every interfaces are new components will be tested for the complete to give that a complete system. And this is a representation of the rapid application process model. Once a business model is over, it will go to the data modeling, that is a data object. Then it goes to the process model. Then it goes to the application generation using some tools, and testing will be there. So it will mainly take 60 to 90 days to develop an application. So it will, like incremental model, simultaneously we can develop many smaller modules to incorporate some requirements needed in the each modules. Advantages of rapid development models are it reduces the development time because we are going to develop a smaller module simultaneously. So obviously it will reduce the development time. It increases the reusability of components. Quick initial review is occur. It encourages a customer feedback. Once the sample model will be given to the customer for the feedback. So integration from very beginning solves a lot of integration issues. So as a system, we need to integrate the many more models. So in the integration testing, the integration issues will be in beginning itself, it will be solved very easily. Disadvantages of rapid development model is it depends on strong team. And it only system that can be modularized can be built. Only modularized system can be built using a rapid model. It requires high skilled developers and it depends on modeling skills. So tools, some tools will be used for developing the applications, right? So it will develop mainly on modeling skills. It is inapplicable to cheaper projects. The cost of modeling and automated code generation cost is very high here. So when I can opt for RDP model is, it need to create a system that can be modularized in 60 to 90 days. That is a 3 months of time means we can go for a rapid model. There is a high availability of designer for modeling. So the modeling tools requires the designers, right? So if any higher availability of designers is there, we can opt for a rapid model. The budget is high enough for cost of designers and for tools. So if you have a high budget, you can afford for a designers and for a moderating generating tools. You can go for this rapid model. Resources with high business knowledge are available. You can go for this rapid application. Short span of time, like 2 to 3 months is there, means you can go for a rapid development model. And last is the agile model. This is also like an incremental model only. So it is developed in incremental rapid cycles to small incremental. Each releases gives us some previous functionality. Each release is thoroughly tested to ensure software quality is maintained. So each and every model will be thoroughly tested. So it mainly focused on a quality of the software. It is maintained or not. It is used for time critical applications. Next, extreme programming is currently one of the most well-known agile development lifecycle model. This is the one of the example for extreme programming. This is a representation of agile process model. Like we need to plan, then we need to develop, then we need to test, we need to give the demo. If any requirement test, we need to deployment, demo product will be there. If any requirement is required, we need to again go for the planning. It is like a incremental model only, like a small model will be simultaneously developed to incorporate the changes simultaneously. So what are the advantages of agile models? Or customer satisfaction is a very important here, and interaction will be more rather than process and tools. In rapid application development, it mainly depends on a process and tools, right? But in agile, it mainly depends on the customer feedback. So interaction will be more here. The working software is delivered very frequently, like a week rather than months. In rapid, it goes for 2 to 3 months, but here it will goes for weeks because the smaller modules are easier to develop, and feedback will be given by the customer to incorporate very easily. Face-to-face conversation is the best form of communication. Yes, we are interacting with the user, so face-to-face conversation is very best. And daily cooperation between business people and developers will be there, and it continues attention to the technical excellence and good design. Regular adaptation to changing circumstances. If any updation news version is coming in the market, it will adapt to the that circumstances. Even late changes in requirements are welcomed here. So these are the disadvantages of agile models are. In case of some software deliverables, the larger one, it is difficult to access the effort required at the beginning, because each and every time, if the project is larger, each and every time we can't go to the requirement phase, so it will take some time. There is a lack of emphasis on necessary designing and documentation. In the requirement phases, the documentation and designing has some lack. Then the project can easily get taken off track if the customer representative is not clear what final outcome that they want. The agile is mainly based on the user interaction, right? So the customer is not itself know what he want exactly means, what output, what outcome he needs itself he is not clear means, then it will be a very difficult for us to develop the system in an agile model. Only senior programmers can capable of taking the decisions required for developing the process. There is no place for the newbie programmer. The technically senior programmer only can handle this agile model. When should I use the agile model? So unlike a water model, in agile model there will be a limited planning only. So in that cases we can go for the agile model. If any new changes are required or needed to be implemented, we can go for the agile model. If any new features we need to implement to last only the work of few days or only 1 hour also, we can roll back to that phase. We can implement that new feature and we can implement it again. So a short span only is needed for that. Both system developers and stakeholders are easy to find a more freedom of time options, so that the software was developed in a more rigid sequential way. If any changes, new features, any changes, it will be easily incorporated to the previous phase, so that it will be a very easier for a system developers and stakeholders. So the project can continue to move forward without a fear of reaching a sudden standstill. It won't break at any phase. It will reach to the before phases without any breaking of time. So these are the software process model available in the software process model. So what are the models? Again, we can see just an overview. Waterfall model, prototyping model, V model, incremental model, iterative model, spiral model, and rapid application development model, agile development model. So these are the types of models we are implementing in the software process model. Thank you.